Welcome to the Obesity Medicine Podcast with your host, Dr. Matea Rentia, board certified in internal medicine and obesity medicine. Here, we talk about a path to metabolic health, and we have real conversations about chronic weight management and living a full life. Just a reminder, I am a physician, but I'm not your physician. So everything that's on this podcast is for informational purposes, but please go talk to your doctor about what's right for you. There is no medical advice being given on this podcast. Welcome back to another episode. This is actually going to be something very different that is going to be airing both on my podcast and on Amanda Sabaker's podcast. We are doing something very unique coming up here quite soon. We are starting a 9-month program that is going to be supporting solo female entrepreneurs that want to grow and scale their business, and at the same time that they want to also make sure to take care of their health, not get into burnout. They want help getting out there on social media. You want help with some of the marketing in your business. You need strategic help on the back end of the business. So me and Amanda have a very complementary skill set. And we were thinking this past year, and we'll get into all of this again. You'll hear what we're going to play for you here is actually the audio from the informational video that we have on our information page for this program. You're going to hear what we all do and why we wanted to start this program. But we were talking and I said, well, I want to do this year-long program next year. And I said all the things I wanted to do, but I said, but I need you for XYZ. And then she said, well, I want to do XYZ, but I need you for this. And I said, it's the opposite side of the coin, but we actually need to be together. So if you fit this demographic where you are this woman that you're like, I've been looking for this, then listen to the rest of this episode. Otherwise, go ahead and stop listening at this moment. And I hope that you have a great rest of the day and week here. But otherwise, I hope that this reaches some female entrepreneurs that you're struggling and you need that community. You want this small group. You'll hear in this episode, we are doing some really unique things in this group. This has not been done by anyone else. This skill set and what we're bringing together does not exist anywhere. If it was, we were joking, we would join it. All right, I hope you enjoy this. The other reason that we brought this up here is that we are going to be having 2 special Q&A webinars that we're going to run. If you have questions for us, you want to see how our brain thinks, right? Maybe you're not as familiar with either of us. You want to hear all about that. The first 2 Wednesdays in October at 1 p.m. Eastern, we're going to run Q&A webinars. If you're interested in that, you can click in the show notes down below. It's amandasabaker.com/now, NOW, and you can register for that real quick. We will send you an email that has the link to be able to come to that Zoom webinar. What we're also going to have in there is a link to a Google form where you can ask us questions ahead of time. If you know, hey, unfortunately, I can't make it to this. It's kind of short notice. We can answer that question live. And of course, we'll get the replays out after. This is a really good chance to first of all, to get a lot of your questions answered, but also to learn how we're thinking to see if this program could be helpful for you. So this is honestly just a really good opportunity. I go to informational things all day long just to learn sort of the back end thinking process with female entrepreneurs and successful founders, just to figure out how are they doing these things? Because a lot of us, frankly, don't talk about it often. And so I hope that this reaches the right people. If you're interested in that, again, make sure that you register for the webinar down below. We'll get the replays out after, and we hope that we see you there. All right, enjoy this informational episode. All right, welcome, my friends. We're going to start with 2 seconds here just to set the expectations so you know what to expect from this video. So we are Amanda Sabaker and Matea Rentia. We're going to introduce ourselves and everything, but I want to tell you real quick, grab a cup of coffee, grab something and settle in because we really have a lot to go over here because you're going to be able to read this information page. But I want to tell you, we're actually doing something super unique that's never been done before. So we have to explain all of this to you. But Amanda, can we start out? The first step of entrepreneurship is having a mug or a cup you love. I'm dead serious when I say this. Half your day is going to be better with something that's good. But in all sincerity here, again, we'll get to introductions in a second. But first of all, me and Amanda, we've known each other for a really long time, and we are both entrepreneurs. We have taken part in programs for a really long time. And what we consistently saw is that we had to hobble and cobble together like 900 programs. And at the end of the day, a lot of them were really disappointing or didn't give us what we needed. We really thought that this was an opportunity where both me and Amanda have a very unique skill set that can really help the right entrepreneur to just skyrocket. And so that's really why we're here, is that we want to be able to help all of you. And I think something that we really want to stress is that the thing that always shocked us is what you were told was going to happen versus what happened was so different. And after we introduce ourselves, I want to give some of those examples because we were laughing before how offensive it's actually been what we were told versus what we got. Amanda, do you want to start out with introducing yourself and then I'll introduce myself?
Sure. I'm Amanda Sabaker. I have an MBA and I'm SHRM SPC certified. That's HR certification. I have over 10 years helping startups in an incubation space. So I spent 10 years helping startups learn how to put together their pro formas, pitch to angel investors, VCs, and figure out how they're going to get their product to market. And more recently, I switched over to working with entrepreneurs more broadly to help them start and build their businesses. And I'm super excited to be doing this work with Matea, which we'll talk about in a minute. But let me hand it back to you, Matea.
I mean, you've made such an amazing difference in my life. So for those of you that are new to me, I'm Matea Rentia. I'm a board certified internal medicine and obesity medicine physician. And I really do two things. I have an obesity medicine telehealth practice. I came from corporate medicine, and now for several years, I've had a fully booked practice in that capacity. And then I also do a lot in the space of advocacy for weight management. I have a top ranked podcast. I have a big social media presence, and I have a lot of courses as well as groups that people can be in, both group and one-on-one. Amanda, do you want to tell any of the stories of programs that you did before and how it didn't deliver on what you thought it was going to be?
I have so many examples. When we were talking about this the other day, I
We have
almost
to
did.
hold ourselves back, right?
I was like, we're actually not here to talk about all the failed programs I did.
We have to.
But let me just say, broadly speaking, there are a couple of things that are in common with the things that didn't work. So one is what was sold was not at all the same as what was delivered. In the beginning, they're like, you're going to grow big. And it was a lot of like, grow big like me. It's a lot about them positioning themselves as the expert and able to do all the things. And they're just going to, like, through osmosis, you're going to collect that information. And it just never worked out that way. Surprise, because physics doesn't work that way. It was so frustrating because you would get to the end and you'd be like, well, I have a workbook and I sat through and watched a bunch of videos, but nobody made sure that I was actually tracking. Nobody called me out on my BS. Nobody helped me through the baby steps of stuff. Like when I got nervous or I was afraid of doing something, or there's sometimes these things inside us that prevent us from moving forward. There was nobody there to help me overcome that obstacle. And so I kind of ended like a little bit better, but not with the transformation that I'd hoped.
Yeah, it's 100% what you said. Like, it's a lot of like, believe in yourself and manifest this. And because you're in the room, it's going to happen. Not true. And I want to tell the one story that there's so many, but this one's the brightest in my mind. This was years ago. I joined, let's call it like an Instagram accelerator. And this was supposed to be, you're going to grow your channel. You're going to learn how to make better reels, all this kind of stuff. Really sold a package of goods that you will end up at the end of these months in a very different place. The lady that was the spearhead of the program, face of it. She does the sales call. At the end, it's like, get out your credit card, sign up. Literally never again saw her in the program. I know, it is so offensive. And not only that, her team that were all experts that, well, look, because you could say, well, listen, it's actually her team that's doing it. No. We would submit stuff on a Monday. Keep in mind, this was I think a 12 to 16 week program. It was a few months. It wasn't necessarily half a year. I can't remember. The whole thing was you could submit stuff, get feedback for content calendar, stuff like that. By the way, all of it bullshit. But anyway, so you could submit this stuff. We would submit on a Monday. We wouldn't hear back by a Friday. Imagine if there's 12 weeks. That's insane to not hear back, right? And at the end, we had to say, listen, can we get some weeks tacked on? Because we're actually having to run after you. We're not hearing back for a week. This isn't 1 or 2 business days. This is a week out of a 12-week program. Just experiences like that really started to make me question, what am I investing in? And are they actually going to be there for me? Because that's something that a lot of these programs, actually majority of them, they do not deliver on that.
No. And so why we're here today, why you're watching this video, and hopefully you've had a chance to read the language underneath with more detail, but what we're here today to talk to you about is we have created a program that overcomes these problems. We have decided that we have invested enough in things that don't work. We have figured this out, and we're not like the others. So we want a long form video where we can walk through with you why we developed this program.
Yeah. And we've helped enough people at this point to be successful in all of these areas that I think that's important too, is that you don't want to join something where only that person that's talking to you has been successful. They need to have helped others do the same thing. I could be a rock star in social, but if I can't translate that to getting you to make videos, to getting you to be better, to get you the results you want, it's zero helpful. So we're creating what honestly I've been searching for years. If this existed, I would join it. Like,
I would
hands down.
join it now.
I know.
Listen, we're going to be combining community.
Yep.
We're going to be bringing in not only our expertise, but outside experts.
Yep.
We're going to be hosting a baller retreat, which we'll talk about later. That's going to be mind-blowing and transformative. Yep. And we'll be combining both one-on-one sessions with group coaching and workshops.
Yes.
It's the most amazing wraparound services that we could come up with. We were like, what is our biggest dream? What would we create for ourselves? And this program is it.
It's the deepest dive that's so practical, but there's no overwhelm because we're not about lists and calendars. And so you'll see, hopefully by the end of this video, you really understand the way in which we think, because again, it's different than anything that we've participated in ourselves.
And one of the core elements of our philosophy is we think everybody's an individual, which means every business is an individual business. And so what works for one person in one business doesn't work everywhere, which is one of the reasons why we struggled so much, because it's really hard to find a program that fits you. And then once you find a program that you think the content is going to be interesting and that it lands with you, then you have to make sure it's delivered in a way that works for you. So that's why we have this multifaceted approach that integrates all these strategies, but it's tailored. To Matea's point, we're going to be tailoring the content and the pacing for where you are, which is why we spend in the beginning quite a bit of time going through assessments and diagnostics to figure out what is right for you in this moment to get you to where you want to be.
Right. And it's not just like, what's your vision? It's very nuts and bolts, practical. You're actually going to be able to dig into this. I think that by now you have the sense that we're entrepreneurs. We're wanting to create a community for you, as well as really helpful things where your business really gets to take off. I think what could be helpful is if we go over just what this program's about. I'm going to go over very high level, and then we're going to dig into each aspect. So first of all, this is a 1-year commitment. The reason being, you cannot get the breadth of what we're doing. You can't get it done in 3 months, 6 months. It needs to be a year. So this program is going to run November of 2025 to October of 2026. It's going to be small group. We are targeting no less than 6 women, but really optimally in the 10 to 12 range. We will not exceed 15 women. The goal is really small group, but there's a certain size where you get enough help from community, but you're not shut down. Having gone through years of this, also the level of the one-on-one commitment that we're doing, there's only so many that we can have in the group. Okay, so the group size, it's going to be highly customized and tailored to help you up-level your health, business, and your life. So one of the reasons we came together is that I had wanted to do this health and social and all these things. We'll talk more about that. And then Amanda was doing business, and I was like, but they're actually together, because every time I was coming up with it, I was like, but then I need you for this. And you were like, and I need you for that. And I was like, let's just put it together. So the reality is, if you're a solopreneur, we're really looking for females that are solopreneurs. It's okay if you have other people on your team, but you need to be able to make decisions. This is not you're part of a big team and you have to run social by other people. You need to be able to actually execute things on your own. And what we're going to be doing in that group, it's going to be bi-monthly live group calls. It'll be a mix of coaching versus workshops. So again, every month is actually going to be different what we're doing. You will have 12 one-on-one sessions throughout the year, 6 with me, 6 with Amanda, or you can do what we call mega sessions where you put us together. And that's a strategic session, because you'll see you need everything always to come together. So there's lots of ways for you to use us in a really amazing fashion. And then the last aspect of what we're going to do is that into the beginning half of the year, probably February timeframe, there's going to be a live retreat. You're going to be there at least 5 days with us. You will leave with not only goals and all that kind of stuff, but you will leave with a branding photo shoot where you will have support from a stylist so that we actually help you. And we're going to talk about this with my photos, because you think photos just turn out good. They don't. By the way, AI photos suck. So don't be like, oh, I'm just going to get some photos on. I can tell online. Okay, so you're going to have the stylist that's going to help you beforehand. It's extremely triggering to up level. We've been through this. It's going to activate you in a massive way. You will have hair and makeup. You will have an assistant to help you. I will be there. You will have all of this. We're going to help you to script out all the things you're going to do. We're going to hold your hand from A to Z and it's going to be a tenth of the cost that if you would ever do it on your own. I was talking to Amanda. It was so expensive when I did this in the past. I can't even tell you. And the fact that we've put this together because we're really going to be stacking it for you guys, unbelievable what you're going to get accomplished. The reality is you will be able to rebrand your website. You will have headshots and photos that really represent you. You have to do these things all in tandem to up level. You don't just get to make a different video. Your brand needs to be cohesive. And that's part of what we want to help you with.
Yeah. And I think in the beginning, we're going to sit down and do some diagnostics and assessments. And I'm going to spend a lot of time talking to you about your business objectives. And it's going to be very analytical, like I make this much money and I want to make this much money. And here's what we want to do. And I'm going to use tools from my incubator days, like the business model canvas, right? It helps you dissect what's happening in your business and break it down into bite-sized pieces and then figure out where's the money flowing? Where do I need to spend my time and energy? All of that's amazing. And it's all just with your brain. When it's time to execute, that's when you need support. You cannot do this alone, which is why we're combining community with experiences where we are literally holding your hand as you go through the experience. There is nobody else I've ever seen do it this way. I went to, Matea was talking about this.
Tell the story.
I got to. So we happened to be at this retreat together. And we didn't do everything together, but
we done a lot together.
We're at this retreat and the host of this retreat has this amazing idea for us to get hair and makeup done as part of the retreat, bundled in, same, like amazing, and get photos done. And we had gone shopping the day before and the idea sounded fantastic. And I was like, I need new photos anyway for my website. I need new photos to be able to put on my marketing collateral, all sorts of uses for it. And first of all, we went shopping. She was nowhere to be found. I'm feeling uncomfortable because we went to a very high-end store that was the kind of store that only had I was looking for a blazer and all the blazers were bedazzled. Everything.
Can I stop you for a second? Because on my side, because I was with her, they didn't have plus size. I was plus size. They did not have plus size clothes. I went toy shopping for my son across the street just to kind of tell you what the intention was versus what happened. Okay, so sorry, keep going.
Yeah. So bad. So I'm already feeling terrible, but I found a cute dress, which by the way, I've never worn, but it's an amazing dress. So I was like, I got something at least. And then the next day we did the photo shoot and I was like, okay, I guess I'll wear the dress. And I put it on and whatnot. And we're taking the photos and I'm feeling more and more uncomfortable. And God bless Matea. She comes over and she starts talking to me and coaching me on put your hand here, smile this way, shake your body loose, and then smile. The photographer was doing no coaching to help me to figure out.
Do you remember, Amanda? So you're taller. This girl was way short, a foot and a half shorter than you. The girl was not standing on something to be level with Amanda. So she was doing the worst photography possible when you're underneath and you're going up. So it wasn't a vetted team. That's a big thing that we're going to hammer home here when we work with you. Everyone's vetted. We've worked with all of them. You have the A team. No one's I don't know if they're going to be shitty when they show up. No, we know. Yeah.
And I just remember going through the experience and feeling smaller and smaller and uglier and uglier. And Matea was my little lifeline of sanity, helping me.
We tried to salvage it but then you didn't like the photos afterward, right? Because guys, when you go through these experiences and you feel bad, the product's bad. This is not about a beauty contest or anything actually extraordinary that's happening. It's that you have to feel yourself and there has to be this amazing moment that happens and you need support for that for most of us.
You want to be feeling authentic in the moment when you're taking the photo. And what's amazing, Matea, and one of the reasons why I wanted to do this with you is that's an area where I need to work, right? Is to learn how to be authentic, showing up on video and in camera and then social media. And so in social media, it's the same principles. You have to get used to doing it, but it's so important as a marketing tool in modern day business. And so many people are hung up on it. They exclude themselves from social media because they feel so uncomfortable. And that ultimately hurts their business. And it's also hiding.
And can I say another person that sought me out here recently, they were like, oh, I didn't know you help with social. They had joined a program. The lady had written them a content calendar and had basically said, here's all the ideas and things you can do. Never helped the person to turn the camera on, give them feedback of the description, the title, the hooks, the music being too loud. Hey, you could do this, you could do that. You can so rapidly evolve someone, but if you're just going to make a plan and not help them on it, zero helpful. You would have been better off resting on the couch and getting some energy back. But I was shocked when I heard that.
Yeah, like we have gone to enough of these things. We're not interested in theory. We're not interested in the lecture. We're interested in support to execute. That is the focus. And that is the core principle behind the entire design of this program is that we want to bring both the drama and the trauma from the past and what we've learned from it to create the community and the container that supports women entrepreneurs to
Yeah.
achieve the business and the life that they want.
Yeah. So just high level overview here. Basically, phase one is we're really going to do the assessments and diagnostics with you so we can tell where you are, what you're going to need. Okay. Phase two is really that transformation where we're going to help you with these things. You're going to have that level up moment with lots of support. And then phase three, to be honest, the last 6+ months of the end of it, you really need implementation and pivoting. And you need it often. This is really going to help you, hopefully from beginning to end, where you come in at one level and you end at a radically different place. And that might look different for everyone because if you're just starting, it might mean 300% growth. If you have been doing things for a while, it might mean getting like what I've gone through in the past few years here of getting the systems into place, doing the rebrand. There's different levels, but we'll be able to help you on those different levels or bring in the right people because we know a lot. We have a lot of, both of us have big teams at this point of who we rely on. We're not doing everything ourselves and we don't pretend to be that either.
No, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I think there are a couple of things to keep in mind. So this is the right program for you if you're looking to level up in your business and you don't want to sacrifice what's going on in your life. And the way that we think about it is there are really 4 areas that you need to monitor and focus on at different times on your entrepreneurial journey. And the 4 areas are business, so the business itself, the marketing, social media, and the self-image. Those are all combined for us. Marketing and social media are externally focused, but your self-image and your self-concept is how you think about yourself, and that's internally focused, but they're connected. The third area is your health, and the fourth area is your nervous system. And if there are any internal subconscious things playing out that might be putting the brakes on your progress. If you don't have all of those things greenlit, go ahead, move forward, you are going to put the brakes on your progress. You're going to stall in your business. You're going to spin out and get distracted by stuff. And it's not the most efficient way. We've designed the program such that we assessed all 4 of those elements in the beginning. And then we prioritize which one is top priority to address first. Between the 2 of us, we have the tools to deal with all 4 of those elements. And then we start working over the course of the year at chipping away to unblock those blockages such that you can then level up. And as Matea said, leveling up is incredibly uncomfortable. You have created a zone of safety around yourself, around your self-concept and who you think you are. And truly, when you level up and you become the next version of yourself, you no longer fit in that paradigm anymore. And you have to recreate a new version, not only of yourself, but of the world that goes around you. And it's just really overwhelming and scary. So you need support.
Because I want to give an example from that, like practical, because, we're talking about these pillars and stuff. But so recently here, things have, oh gosh, knock on wood, things have been going great. It's amazing. But you think, okay, everybody sitting here listening who might join this program, you think that's all I need. I just need more patients. I just need more coaching clients. I just need more of that income, whatever those things are. The discomfort is unreal. So you actually need help with that. And you don't need to be shamed for your success too, because I find that too. Well, you should be grateful. You should be grateful that things are working out. And you're like, but I just created a whole other host of problems and my nervous system's on fire. And now I doubt myself, right? Normal. But if you're not in the room with other people like that, you really think you're this strange bird. What do? You shut down. You start to cut off parts of the business that you would actually like to grow because you just think I need to chill out because this is not great what's happening, when really it's like a natural discomfort that we need to work past with you.
I'm just going to give an example, a very tangible example that you and I have talked about, and we've had entrepreneur friends wrestle with as well. When you're the entrepreneur and your spouse is not.
Oh, huge.
Careful, red flag. Because they have an employee mindset. So when you're putting yourself out there, you have to put yourself out there and be authentically you because people are buying you, they're trusting you. And your employee mindset husband might be like, that seems a little awkward, or maybe it's a little too much. They're going to, because they want to stay in their safe zone and they love you and they want you to stay safe, they're going to project their employee mindset onto you. And it's counterintuitive. You actually need to do the opposite of what they say.
That, and it's like you're creating things that probably don't exist in the world. Some people totally don't get that. You have to climb Cringe Mountain, and it's not fun. I'm going to just tell you, having climbed it myself, repeatedly reclimbing new Cringe Mountains and helping people climb them, that it's not easy fun, but it's so rewarding when it happens. But like, I'm sorry, you need people like us that are like, get out the nest. I'll never forget when I was working with a social media client, and they were like, like I'll like do that in 3 months. I'll do the other thing in 6 months. I was like, so here's the thing, like you already have everything today. Let's go ahead tomorrow and record da da da. This person within like a month had everything going. They didn't need this long ramp. And then I have other people that are in the group. We'll talk more about that I run, where it's like they think that they can get it all done in a month or two. I'm like, no, that's actually a 6-month plan that you're saying. So some of you don't know what's a yard, what's a mile, right? And how would you? Because you haven't done it. You haven't been in it. So that's what we're here to help you too with some of the distancing.
Yeah, exactly. I think just to recap, it's really 3 phases. We do assessments and diagnostics. We're going to have this amazing intensive retreat where we do some business work, but we're going to do a lot of in-person work together, where we're going to be together in community. We're going to be normalizing all the fears we have, normalizing the challenges, and supporting each other through that. And then, as Matea said, we're going to be kind of shoving you out of the nest to help you put the next version of yourself on the screen or in a photo. That's going to be a huge event, the retreat. And then the third element is just execution, right? Practicing. So you're going to implement all the things that you've learned and keep iterating, which is exactly what you do in the creative process. And building a business is absolutely a form of creativity.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it would be helpful if you talked about the different roles, that the things that we want to accomplish in the program, but let's talk about community and different aspects like that, just so you understand what's actually included with all of that. The first aspect with community, as Amanda was talking about, there's when you come in, we're going to have group calls. You're really going to get to know these women. So you have group calls that are going to occur. We're going to have WhatsApp where you have that day to day that you can get feedback from me, Amanda, your peers. By the way, there's something magical that happens when you're in a group. I've seen this time and time again with the ones I run and what I participate in. You always think, I want the thoughts from the leader. You kind of do, but you also want thoughts from other really brilliant, smart women, because they'll come up with things and you'll be like, oh, that's really good. And they are going to see your business way differently than you see yours, because they're not in your drama, right? They're getting out of their drama long enough to help you with yours. So that aspect's really great. So the calls, the WhatsApp group, really monthly workshops, speakers that are coming in to help you think about things differently, really that have expertise in these areas. And you really are going to realize that you're not alone. You can see what's possible. Okay. Because a lot of us, when you're a solopreneur, you are sitting in your little hole, not talking to anyone. You don't realize the big things other people are doing. We'll talk about this. Majority of what me and Amanda created on our own the years leading up to this was in stealth. A lot of people don't know all the programs I have running. They don't know all the things I do because I don't advertise it. People realize, oh, she's really good at this. She's got this group. I'm not sitting around like, join my social media group, because it's a bespoke thing where there's so many things that have to go into it. Like, everyone's been vetted that came into it, right? And so there are just these things happening. And Amanda, I'll let you speak for yourself, but you had everything fully going even before you ever left your job. I mean, it was just like, but no one knows, right?
That's why I'm laughing, because I'm thinking like my mom had no idea that things were going on. My boss at the time, I was a W-2 employee. I was an executive at this organization. So, I couldn't put myself out there on social media and stuff, but I could be building my business on the side and serving all these folks and helping them build their businesses. And people just had no idea.
Totally. I think to speak to that, with talking about community, yeah, my family, and again, they're amazing, but my family was like, that's not going to work, the way in which you want to do your practice, how you want to do these things. But because I had a really close group of entrepreneurial female friends, we were all doing amazing things. And I was like, I don't know what they're talking about. This sounds really normal. I'm totally going to do this, right? But I'm convinced, Amanda, if I hadn't had that circle, I would have stopped a long time ago, because I wouldn't have known, like, oh, this is so normal. Hearing all my other friends, if they're starting all these other things and doing things, it's like, oh yeah, this is normal that we try things, that we go after what we're passionate about, that we help people. It was very normalized to me because of the group.
Yeah, I think actually we keep talking about community, and people, I don't know if you're listening and you're like, why they keep talking about it. It's because it helps you change your reality.
Yes.
It gets you out of your own head and your own world, and it helps you see a different world and see what else is possible. So we are both obsessed with community,
Yeah,
both person and virtual. We have found both to be equally transformative. And so that's why we're integrating into this program.
totally. Totally.
But the other thing that we are doing we're recognizing that we're not the experts in everything. So I have some good friends who are really amazing marketers who've worked for Fortune 500 companies and helped some of the portfolio companies that we had at the incubator I was working at. We also have folks who are really good at numbers and finances. I'm not an accountant. I have an MBA, but I'm not an accountant. And I know, Matea, you have folks on the health side that
Yep.
you plan on tapping for things like supplements, for
Yep.
talking about common stress. I know we're going to be talking a lot about stress. These are some of the roadblocks that kick up when you start to level up your business.
Yeah, we need some experts, for example, to help with different nervous system regulation techniques. And we know the people that have been really pivotal in helping with these things. And part of why you would join this group is because you want all the work to be done of the expert curation and you don't want to waste your time. You actually don't have a million hours per week and month. So that's something we really want to stress is like, I don't know if we talk about this anywhere, but the time commitment, I would say maybe 1-2 hours a week, but this is not like constantly you're doing stuff. Notice it's not weekly calls. You would lose it. So we're very cautious of the fact that we know you're busy. That's a requirement almost if you're an entrepreneur.
Totally. And then just thinking, piggybacking off of that concept of this practical approach. So on one hand, we want to honor your time commitments that you're running your business and running your life. At the same time, when you're with us, you're with us. Okay. And we're going to make you do things that you might not be comfortable with or you've never done before, whether that's posting on social media or doing a branded photo shoot in person. But also, and this is where I'm from California, so I like to bring a little bit of the hippie in. We do in my retreats, in my business, I like to do a sound bath.
Yeah.
I do a sound bath because sound is so amazing and it's so gentle at helping you relax at a deeper level. You stop talking, your conscious brain turns off, your subconscious brain sort of surfaces and you can process emotions and you come out the other end feeling way more regulated. And in business, you just need that sometimes.
It's the passive restoration because we're always in our mind, but you need these other tools. And I'm a convert, right? I went to your retreat here years ago, and I now monthly, guys, get them. And I'm convinced that it's part of the health being better, the business being better. I just had one 2 nights ago. I was like, I need this. So yeah, you need to be open to these tools because it's not going to just be a cognitive exercise that's going to get you there. It's not what's going to happen.
And sometimes it's on that's on one hand. On the other hand, very practically and more externally focused, we are bringing in this amazing stylist who's going to be helping you with the photo shoot. But you have the option to purchase clothes from her too if you want. That's on you. It's your choice. You don't need to bring your own clothes. But she has these amazing tips and tricks of ways of thinking about clothing that it makes the clothing work for you, not you trying to work for the clothing. So, Taya, do you
Yeah.
want to share that
I
photo?
do. I pulled this up. So I'm going to pull up. I just changed. I had this photo shoot however long ago, and I finally got around to changing my Facebook profile picture. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And before I do this, I want to just highlight something. When you look at a photo, you just think, oh, it's a great photo. And you do not know all the things that went into it. So I'm going to show you this photo, and I'm going to just tell you a few things that maybe are not right away apparent. Okay. Can you see this? All right. So this is a photo that I'm in love with. This is partly cropped, so there is actually a laptop here and a desk, and so it does get my degree and a lot of other things, but I like this as a photo. But let me explain a few things here. Number one, fake lashes, pound of makeup. Okay. You would never know how much is on here, hair done, all the things. And this was kind of at the end of the day. So it's a little bit more like, dejected, like a little bit deflated. But we had decided beforehand, we had a whole hit list that day of we're going to do a charcuterie board because it relates to my health. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Flowers were ordered. I actually ordered multiple flowers to show up that day. I didn't know the color palette. These are all things, for example, when you come to be with us, we are going to think about these things ahead of time. You would never think I need the flowers to match my aesthetic, to match my planner, to match what you're not thinking about it. This is the thing I want to highlight. All of this styled head to toe was from her. The necklace matched the jumper that comes in at the waist appropriately with the blazer. Look at this over here. This just looks, it just looks great, right? Your arms like that. They told me how to pose. There's a rubber band underneath here that makes it so that it looks perfect. Would you have known that? You just think you just put your arm up in a blazer. No, you don't. The back of me, you can't see this in the back. She had clipped it so that it gave me definition. It gave me a waist that is hard to create with me with my features. So You would never know. I'm going to come back to you here. You would never know all that. And you just think, oh, they just like, they feel confident. They look confident. They were doting on me the entire time. The stylist was arranging my hair. They were making me feel amazing. Listen, the months after that, this was business because I felt differently. Everybody saw, oh, look how she looks different, how she's talking different. You change, but these are the details that no one's telling you. And it's really hard to create this team too, because it took me years to find all these people.
I know. And you know what's interesting is I'm thinking about the horror photo shoot that I went through where I had none of that support. And I look at yours and it looks so natural.
It
And
does.
I compare it. And this is the tricky thing. And this is the kind of stuff we would work on. In my mind, I'm like, oh, my body's not right for these clothes. My body, I can't get it to stay with the right exact like wrinkles because 3/4 sleeves are like all the rage right now, but not rolled. They have to be pushed up, right? It just
Yeah.
never would work. I didn't know there are all these like tools and like secret tricks that everybody was using.
If you haven't done this stuff before, I'm going to give you guys just a few things that like, because I used to do like quarterly photo shoots. And because this was part of, I decided years ago when I became an entrepreneur, I said, if I was taking this seriously, I would be going to conferences, I would be connecting with people, I'd be doing photo shoots. I really consciously decided what I was going to do. First of all, the first photo shoot I ever did, it was in the middle of summer. The location where I got hair and makeup done was different than where it was. I was sweating my ass off before I got to the final destination. Never again. Hair and makeup have to happen on site. It's the same price, by the way. Who cares if it's a few dollars extra? But the point is, there's that. Also, at the location, one time we had rented a studio. I show up. It's a 4-hour chunk that we had the studio. Air conditioning was not on. I'm sitting in the bathroom changing outfits, sweating. My clothes are wrinkly because I didn't know you have to bring a steamer. Like, you can't do it all when you're the person. So the place is hot. I decided never again. The next time when we did it, I was like, blast the AC. Everyone can be freezing. They can be in a parka. I don't care, but I cannot be sweating. These are things that like you don't realize. And once you have someone, like we're just giving you examples how when someone's gone before you, these are things that you would never think that matter. And you will learn really quickly because we're going to teach you.
You would never know. That's why we think the retreat is so important, is that you need to have those kinds of experiences. And then after the retreat, it was when you do during the implementation, we have a mix of those group workshops there'll be monthly themes as well as one-on-ones. And I just want to pause for a second on one-on-one sessions. So you'll have the opportunity to work 6 times with Matea, 6 times with me, and each of those sessions, or you can combine us, by the way,
Yeah.
like a super strategy session if you want. But these are opportunities to do personal deep dives, and it can be private things you don't want to share in the group. It could be the problems you have with your husband because he doesn't understand that you're building a business and he's employed and you're not. Or it could be things you're worried about, like mommy guilt. I actually with Matea, you and I did this too.
It's the first few sessions because I was like, I didn't have the right childcare. I had so many thoughts that I had to overcome. And then once that click happened, I moved on. And by the way, yay, because I see so many women for years beating themselves up. It's horrible.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is actually very, very common in the work I do with moms, especially with young kids, is they feel guilty having somebody else take care of their kids. And we have a lot of conversation about it. And once they overcome that, it's a huge unlock. And then they can start thinking about the business. So it's super important to address all of those things. Other stuff that can come up, for instance, I'm trained in neuro-linguistic programming, which is subconscious work. Sometimes the blocks that you have are based on deep feelings or experiences from before, and you need to release those, and you're not aware of them. So you think that you just keep plugging away at trying to do the same thing again and again, and it's not working. And we need to do just 1 or 2 sessions to release those subconscious thoughts and feelings. And then suddenly everything is just magically easier. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Super. And from other things, for example, from my side, there might be more social things that you need help with. You have trouble showing up online. You have different hangups. Everybody has something that's total garbage, but it's really front and center in your mind. For me in the past, it was, I'm overweight. My teeth aren't perfect. I could go on and on. By the way, I've just left all the miles behind on the highway and kept going. Okay. Business goes on. We're all unique and amazing. But so if you need help with things like that, I'm really good at helping you find your voice. Again, it's unique to everyone. And then there's the health side. So I obviously I'm a physician first and foremost, but I do a lot of health coaching. You can actually do genetics testing. It can be massively impactful as far as there are emotional regulation genes. There are supplements you can take for that. You can tell the metabolism of caffeine. There are so many things that maybe you figured it out over time, or you have these chronic frustrations that the testing can help us figure that out. For example, for optimal health, we know nowadays body composition really matters. And the only reason I bring this up is that as you're going through, if you're in those perimenopausal or postmenopausal years, again, everyone's going to be at a different spot. We can really optimize how you're feeling and what you're doing. So I really want to stress this. This is not like everybody's on a fat loss journey. That does not need to be part of it. It's that you feel best, that you actually feel like you have energy to get through the day, that you actually feel like you're excited to get up and do these things. Physical health, your nutrition, your sleep, all that kind of stuff. It's a massive part of it. It's not just like I talk to Amanda about business and then I take a walk. Like it all goes together for how you feel. So there's a lot that we can do, even in the way of supplements and things like that, that can help you to feel better.
And at the same time, we are not tech bros. Okay. We're not trying to optimize and biohack our lives. I've got 3 kids. Matea has 3. Like I have a full life. I'm trying to run a business. I need my energy to be on point. I
Yeah.
need, sometimes the energy requires that I rest. Sometimes the energy requires that I do exercise. Sometimes I need to eat differently. That ultimately is a lot of our focus in talking to people because you need to have energy to be able to build your business.
Well, this is actually part of it. So, like when I talk about genetic testing, some of you might be like, wait, why are you even bringing that up? A lot of people don't realize this, that for you to have optimal health, some people need to exercise much more harder, stronger, and some need to not. And we have let's just say cortisol stress response genes. And so based on knowing these things, it actually changes your strategy. And so these are things usually where it's a little tweak, but because you never knew the information, you couldn't get that thing done. So know that we're not going to like massively overhaul your life, but likely you're doing some things in a way that just for you specifically are not helpful. And that's really what we want to figure out for you.
Yeah. Matea, I think at this point, we should probably talk about some of the questions that people have asked us. I know one of the things that I've heard, which I think you touched on already, but people are just really concerned. I don't have time. It's a really long commitment. And I'm just nervous about that. You want to take a pass at sharing
Yeah.
why we've designed it this way and how we anticipate
I'm
addressing
going to
that?
start with this. You don't not have time to do this. Okay. So let's get real for a second. When you don't have the right level of support, you are overwhelmed and you are, I'm going to use the term buffering, like you're doing things that are unhelpful to you and hurt you. You're over scrolling social, you are escaping, trying to overeat, alcoholic, whatever your vice is, right? But the point is, when you have the right help, you get much more done efficiently. So when you're thinking, oh, it's this whole big thing I'm taking on, it's the opposite. You're going to be so laser focused. Like I can't even tell you when I have quarterly goals and things I know I'm doing, I feel like I've shared this with you. I feel like I take so much of the year and the week off. Like it's unreal. Like me now compared to me 5 years ago, night and day. And I'm not selling a version again. We're not like 5-hour work week. No, but my point is this, like lots of summer taken off because I know I want to be with my kids going to the beach, right? Lots of some of the December time because I care about some of those holidays and spiritual things. You get so much more focused when you're in the right group. So it's actually the opposite, I find, that if you're not in things like this, the amount of time that you're going to spend and not be focused and not accomplish amazing thing, it's going to be much worse.
Yeah, for me, I really think about distraction, not just from time, but also money and like seeking, finding resources. It's baffling to me that we have so much information at our fingertips, and yet at the same time, we still can't find great photographers.
Oh my
We
gosh, I know.
you
I
know,
know.
hey, I need to redo my website. Who do I have help me? How do I find somebody to help me do my website? How do I get feedback on figuring out, do I raise my prices? We work with a lot of physicians, both of us, and they're always like, do I raise my prices here? How are people going to feel about it? It's just, there's so many areas where you need a sounding board or you need an expert, and you can spend a lot of time seeking that out. And what we've done here is we've curated both a community of women, but also a community of experts and people who have been there, done that, got the t-shirt, moving on, so that you can more quickly get answers to what you need.
And I think another thing that people ask us, they're like, well, I don't know, if I'll get results or, all that kind of like along those veins. And the thing is this, you have to decide now, to honor your time and commitments. So this was a big thing actually that me and you worked on is like, if I'm going to join a program, I'm going to go all in, I'm going to listen, I'm going to do things. You do need to have some trust that the people are going to take you in the right direction. Of course, you can always do what you want to do, but there is something about like giving me this feedback. I think this could help, or let me just trust because they've helped a lot of people in this area. It's a decision, to be honest, whether it's going to work or not, because you have to decide ultimately daily, weekly, monthly that you're going to continue to engage, that you're going to do the things. If it doesn't work, we're going to pivot. I'm sorry, a lot of that's going to be on you. And that's actually who we're looking for, is that you want to participate. You want to change. You want these things to work. We can't create that for you. We can set up the right container, but you need to show up wanting to have the transformation happen. I want to give one example here of this, because again, sometimes these things are like out there. I have a friend that she said to me, Matea, how is it that these past few years, every time you come to a conference, afterward, you create a new program, you do a new thing, like your business up levels? And she's like, I thought there was something magical happening. And I was thinking to myself, no, it was that even when I go to these things, a lot of the time, me and Amanda have a podcast on this, by the way. So find my podcast and that was in June when it came out, or was it August? I can't remember. Anyway, the point is, in there, I talk about how even if it was a bad conference, I always got what I needed because I decided this is going to be worth it. Something will reveal itself that needed to be seen, that needed to be known. Even if I hated the people, the conference, whatever, I learned what my values were. It's a decision that I'm going to get what I need at all times.
Yeah. And it's like this mix of, you have to both open yourself up to possibility and be receptive to all different forms of feedback. So you have to trust when people are sharing things with you and teaching you things, and you have to trust yourself to filter out what's useful and what's not. And that's the core. If you can get those two things at the same time, it's super powerful.
It's also like when you're in the room with other people that are doing big things, it's very motivational. Because talk about motivation's a hard thing to re-harvest and focus and kindle, right? But when you're around other people, you're like, well, gosh darn it, if she can do that, I can get up and do that, right? You keep seeing what's possible.
It's like when Matea starts telling me she's going to try a new thing, I'm like, damn it, I'm going to be doing that too soon, all right? I just know ahead of time. I was just going to say that, but that's so important, the group dynamics, right?
Oh, yeah.
Having people who are committed to being positive, who are committed to working on their transformation, building their business, and then giving feedback to each other. So that's an important piece of this. So if you're nervous about being part of a group, don't be. It's one of the best things that is part of this program. And when you're doing scary things, you need community with you to hold your hand and help you through that process.
I also want to just throw it out there. No one's able to just hit a button and join the program. They have to talk to us, right? So we're talking to all of you. We've already spoken to some of you and you're all amazing. We are not letting people into this program that we do not think are a good fit and will have good results. So there's something about that too, that oftentimes it's just hit the button and anyone's getting in. That's not what's happening here, because the group needs to mesh and we're very conscious of that.
Yeah. The other thing I want to add, just one more note on the group dynamics piece, is this is not a compare and despair group. Ooh, so yes. Being together and hearing of other people's successes or hearing about their business, your job, should you join us on this journey, is to see other people and what's happening in their business as an opportunity for you to learn and level up. And that's your focus.
And we will be reminding you of that often. And by the way, you're going to learn that skill in our group because it's happening online with you all day long, whether you know it or not. A lot of the things that are already happening that are a block for you, we're going to put it into a little micro space for you, because you have to learn how to look around you at what competitors are doing and this and that, and choose to say, is that something I should be doing differently? Is that something I should ignore? Should I go do something differently? You need to know that skill. Amanda, you always say the term feedback. And remember how I used to hate feedback, guys? In fact, when Amanda she had this group a long time ago that I did, and I said, I want to close my ears right now. She was like, we're going to talk about feedback. And I was like, oh, feedback, eyes rolling, right? Literally, my life was never more changed, because feedback is in the wretched comments you get online, what you're going to do with them. Because as you grow brighter, more shit is attracted to you. So what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do when someone says something about your product or service? What do you do when family gives you feedback you don't want? You give yourself feedback you don't want to hear. These are skills. And so, yeah, with the not comparing and despairing, that's a feedback thing when you ultimately get back to it.
By the way, when we talked after that session and you told me how terrible it was, I had to practice receiving feedback.
I know, I felt so bad. And here's the other thing too, everyone stands on their own, because you have to be able to hear. I mean, I've run programs long enough. Everybody tells me what they think. And sometimes I have to be like, that's totally valid. I'm going to change. And other times I say, they don't realize these other things behind the scenes. I need to let that go. Right? You can't be a hero for everyone.
Right, exactly. It's not your job. Yeah. So it's really a skill set is both the receiving and the giving feedback and then learning how to distill it down and filter it into something actionable and productive. So it's a gift. Feedback is a gift is the bottom line. So that's really important as part of this program is that everyone gets to practice feedback, giving and receiving.
I think someone asked us that we spoke to, they were like, I'm not really comfortable with doing a photo shoot, or maybe they didn't want to. And I wonder actually more of your thoughts on this, but here's my thing. It's about visibility, and it's not necessarily, first of all, if you have to be online in some capacity in this world nowadays. Like, I mean, I guess I don't know that this program would be appropriate for you if you're someone that is only brick and mortar, never online. Like, you wouldn't get everything out of it. So that's a whole nother conversation, but it's about learning how to work with the team, learning how to put yourself out there, learning, is there some aspect that I haven't considered going? Because oftentimes, like when you work with a team like this, like when I work with the stylist, she's always bringing stuff where I'm like, I would never wear that. And then I put it on, I'm like, right? It's that moment. Like when I tried on this engagement ring in the past, I thought I wanted a certain cut to the ring. Then we go ring shopping and my husband said, try this one on. And I was like, that's ugly. And I tried it on. I was like, because it worked. It was right? But I didn't have the faith. So that's kind of my mind goes. What about you?
One of the issues with photo shoots that comes up, I find, is that people conflate taking a picture with a photo shoot.
Yeah.
And that's what happened on that retreat. We didn't do the prep work. So that's why we're actually spending a few months ahead of time on this retreat to do the prep work. And part of the work is figuring out what is the image and getting all the people together and the clothes. And we're going to talk about all that's kind of tactical stuff. But underneath all of that, you need to have it as part of your strategy.
Yeah.
And underneath your strategy, so your business strategy, right? Like nobody said to me, hey, Amanda, you want to wear this flowy, beautiful, long dress that has nothing to
Yeah,
do
it
with
was totally inappropriate for what your business is. Like it did not match. It's so stupid. Sorry.
with my business. And that's part of the reason why I was like, I will never use these. But underneath all the strategic things, so it needs to align with your business, right? So that's why we're going to talk about business ahead of time and what your marketing strategy is and your growth strategy. Underneath that, it has to align with your purpose.
Yeah.
And your own identity. If your business purpose, this is exactly to your point. If you're running a retail brick and mortar shop and your purpose is to make sure that everybody has beautiful flowers that they can purchase at your store, it doesn't matter. It's not the same, right? Versus if your purpose is for you as a physician, right? When you're running your clinic is to go out there and help patients live a healthier, more fulfilling life. And you're educating them, you're thinking about serving those patients. You're so passionate in your work. Man, I know I've known you for so long. You are so passionate about this. It's so aligned when you're on social media. And when you do that photo shoot, you're thinking about, I want to make sure that I show healthy food. I want to make sure that I show clothes that feel comfortable for me. And I've been that woman who had a lot of weight to lose and felt uncomfortable on the camera. You're thinking about all of those women, all those people while you're taking this photo shoot. And it's so powerful. You're willing to do so much more when you're doing it with purpose.
100%. 100%. I know we're talking a lot about photo shoots, but guys, it's about connecting with your authenticity, right? I just remember being like 90% of the photo shoot needs to be in comfortable exercise clothes where, like it just wasn't this like fancy prancy outfits. Actually, I had this on in one of the photos with food in front of me. I love this stuff. Okay. But so just to kind of put a pin in it too. Also, it's not the whole retreat. One of the other practical things that we're going to be doing, there's lots of like learning about nutrition, practical things. There's physically making videos. We're going to have all the equipment that you need. We're going to physically help you to do it. So there's a lot of other practical stuff. This is not the only thing. We're just highlighting one aspect of how things can be different. Another thing that when we've been starting to do the calls with people is that something that I think one of the women said, well, I'm not successful enough to be in this group. Like, I haven't made enough, or not, like I don't have a big social presence or things like that. Okay. This is an identity thing. You have to start somewhere. Everyone starts somewhere. So whether you are making a bunch, you are not making at all, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. What matters is, are you willing to work? Are you willing to learn from others? That's the thing that matters. So I want to give an example. I was in this group that, again, it was all like, we're going to think our way to being successful. It was all like manifesting and stuff. I'm only laughing because no one was supporting each other. There was the meanest energy in the room. And I was thinking, I was actually impressed by some of the other ladies. Like I was shocked at some of the things they were able to like all these coaching packages and stuff. I was like, wow, but I didn't get help from them. I didn't get insight. I didn't connect. So like a big part of why you do this stuff is that you see what's possible for others. You push yourself. You have to invest at some point. Like I did something actually that was bigger than this investment. I did it years ago and I did it because I knew I have to go all in at this level. Otherwise, I'm not going to achieve anything new. And every time, I hate to say it, every time I've done these investments, it's like fourfold what I get back. Like, we've done the data on it. It's kind of craziness because every time you're like, am I stupid? But like there's that knowing in you that it's right. But anyway, what do you think?
I was just going to say, sorry, that people, I love this. People are like, I'm just going to watch the free videos.
Yes.
I'm just going to go to the library and learn more. And I want to be like, honey, if osmosis worked, we'd all already be rich and thin. Okay?
I know.
This is not a knowledge problem.
It's not.
It's a doing problem. And the things that you're getting caught up on when you're trying to do your do is stuff that is multifactorial. And that's why we have this approach. You need support, but from multiple angles. The other piece about this, let's just talk about this for a second. Think about how many different types of support and coaches and programs and classes you've taken over the years. I mean, we have invested, each of us, definitely over, should I just say the number? I mean,
Yeah.
over 100K. Like,
I think I said it earlier. Yeah. And if you haven't invested before and you hear that number, I'm just here to tell you it's not that much because like it's over years and you keep thinking this is going to work, that's going to work. And then you add it up and you're like, right. You don't realize.
totally. So it's been over time for sure. But the reason why that I kept making this investment each time is because it's changing me and my brain. And guess what? I only get this one precious life. And my entire life is framed around how I think and feel. And so, is there any other investment I'd like to make? Is there any higher value investment other than me working on my brain? It affects how I show up in business, how I show up with my family, with my husband and my kids, with my friends, in my community. It for sure helped me do work with all of those startup founders over the years because I was able to show up with authenticity and be like, hey, here's what I'm seeing that you're not seeing, and be able to support them. I just think it's the best investment that you can make.
Yeah. I think the other thing when it comes to from the financial side is I think that somehow we think when we join things like this is a me thing, it's a luxury. It's like, no, like you do investments in everything else in your business, right? Like for me, I mean, I'm all day long, I don't know, or are we going to say it's an investment, but it's like there's malpractice. There's the document thing that people use. I pay a ton for that because it's so easy for me to send all the documents to people. They fill it out, HIPAA compliant, I get it back. I can think of all these things in my business that I do. You investing in knowing the next steps, getting help with marketing and imaging and how you're running your business. Everybody does this. So this is not some like luxury. This is actually the big players that actually end up making it. There's no one that does it alone. Like it's not a hero move. I love, we attended this talk here recently with John Maxwell, and he's like, basically, you can't do the mission alone. And when people say I'm self-made, he says, how sad, because you probably didn't do much. Like that's the reality, right? So you need to invest in this, right? This is going to be like anything else. I always, when I was first starting to do these type of things, I was having all this drama, right? And you were coaching me on this at the time, and you were like, if you had a brick and mortar location, your rent would be XYZ. And I was like, oh, that was like a moment for me, right? You need to realize this is a line item like anything else, and you get to decide how much you're going to use it or not.
Yeah, it's the cost of doing business. It really is.
Yes.
It's fundamentally the cost of doing business. And just like you went to years of school to learn how to write, and you did there is no uniform, amazing curriculum out there to like teach you. I went and got an MBA and they still didn't teach me how to run a business. I mean, that's how
I signed up for all the marketing courses and health courses and all the things, and they're horrible. When I first started my business, this was actually the only thing where I was like, everything else I'll cut back on and get rid of, but that I will not, because I knew that if I didn't have the coaching in place, that I would give up on everything else. And I was so happy. I remember actually, I was like, I can't even like pay the full thing, but I can do like monthly. And I was literally like, I was like, I'm going to make this work. And then it was like, oh, you know what I mean? Because it was like, I think it was like that moment had to occur,
Totally. Yeah. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why we've structured this with monthly payments, right? I
Yeah,
mean, because we want to make it possible so that an investment like this is feasible. So it is an investment that you're making in your business, is a line item in your business. That's how you need to think about it. It's not about you. And like we talked about photo shoots, but it's not about like you putting yourself out there, right? It's about you transforming into the next version of the business owner that you need to be to create the business that you want and the life that you want, because we do them both
yeah,
simultaneously. If one of them goes stretches too far out of range of the other one, it's going to snap back.
tension. Yeah,
Yeah,
tension.
rubber bands. That's why we don't want tension between the two. We want to be working with both of them tandem together, but not all at the same time, which is why we pace it out. So
Exactly. Because there's
we
kind of the four areas, but we're going to see like is it one or two that you need the most work. And so that's really what we're always going to help you with. And I think we've all experienced this that you want to give up at times. And when you have someone there that's like, no, you don't. Here's how we're going to pivot. Here's how we're going to change. You're going to make another video. You're going to do da da da. Because otherwise, like we would like those are the 99.99999% of people that quit business that are not successful. Like, what are the statistics, right? Like most businesses don't work, right?
oh yeah, within the first 2 years, like 75%. I mean, it's
It's
a bit.
depressing, right? But I think when we went to that conference and they were explaining like characteristics of who had to close within the first year, no support, no plan. I mean, the things that we were hearing were like, you would account for, like, we accounted for all of that. Like, you need a runway, you need a vision, you need check-in points. I remember when we were learning that, I was like, really? Like, I thought it would be deeper than that.
You know what it was, though? It was people who thought, and I'm saying this with peace and love to all the physicians out there, but the physicians, because I work with a lot of them, there is a flavor of physician who thinks
Yeah.
that because they're smart and they are good at their job, that everything else business wise is going to work out. And it's like, oh no, honey, that's actually, you could even hire out. You could run a clinic and hire out another physician to run that. That's not running a business. That's being an expert, which is very, very different.
Oh, true. Also, like with social, I see that they think, oh, I can just like talk medical. No, you can't. It's a whole other world. How you're going to market, like marketing is very different doing social and things like that and building a brand identity versus making random informational videos that are dry as hell and no one wants to watch it. Different skill set.
Totally. And then there are folks who look at social media and they're like, it's all like TikTok dances and weird stuff. You and I have, since you've got me like hooked on TikTok now and Instagram, I'm looking all the time. I am finding such amazing videos. I'm sending them to my kids. I have a daughter who's just started college. She needs a little pep talk once in a while. I send her, I can't say it because I'm the mom.
Yeah.
But I can send her a little video of somebody else saying it. And she's like, oh my gosh, that's what I needed to hear today. And I'm like, yes, that person who created that video had no idea that they were going to help my homesick daughter eat through her day better.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think what you're trying to say is like there's a very intellectual population on there and they're making impact. They're thought leaders. It's incredible what's happening. And you need to kind of cut through to find that community. And once that community finds you, those are really fans for life because it's deeper than just a video. So, I think we went through a lot of questions here, right? I want to make sure to like respect everyone's time. You will likely have more questions. So we'll have our email, on the information page below. Feel free to email us at any time. But I think I'm going to leave a leaving comment and maybe you can leave one. I think if you at all think that this might be helpful for me, just do the call with us because I think it's a really good opportunity for us to see where you're at, for us to ask questions to you, and you can ask us questions. But you really don't know often when you kind of like read these pages. I've never read a sales page in my life. That's why we made a video. Like, I'm not just being real. And it's with meeting with the person where I was like, oh, that person I believed that they could take me to the next level. So you don't really know that until you actually talk to us. So I would say if you're at all thinking that, to just talk to us because there might be things that we wrote on, like, I don't know if I fit this or that, but we will tell you if that's the case or not. We're very discerning.
Yes, exactly. And I'm laughing because I'm like, I always read the sales page. This
That's
is
so
why
funny. Really? I never knew that.
I like to know the details. Especially at the end of my job, I was reading like legal contracts all the time. So I'm used to
Yeah.
reading all the fine print. And I read it and then I have questions afterwards. So I'm a bit of the opposite of Matea, where I read the sales page and then I get distracted by all the information and I have questions. The bottom line is, I agree with Medea. Just get on the call with us, figure out, if nothing else, it will be useful for you to hear how we're approaching things. We're very open. We share a lot of information about our own journeys.
Yeah.
Use that call to help you figure out what's the next best step for you in your entrepreneurial journey. I think it'll be a valuable call. I know it'll be a valuable call, regardless of whether you end up working with us or not.
Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We look forward to talking to you soon.
Bye now.
That marks the end of today's episode. But if you're newer to the podcast, I want to tell you about something that we have, and it's a free podcast roadmap. So this is perfect for any of you that are listening where you want to be directed to very specific episodes. So let's say that you are just starting out and you want to know, what should I do right when I start on the medications? Or you're experiencing certain side effects on the GLP-1s, or you want to know what to do if you're in a plateau, or if emotional eating is taking over, or if hunger levels are high. So we have many different categories of episodes that we've talked about, because there's a lot at this point. So if you want to be able to navigate that very easily, we have it broken down by category, and also the episodes that are there, and we hyperlink to everything. So you can just click on it and find the episode, easy peasy. If you want that, you can go to rentiaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. We'll have it linked right here underneath the show notes where you're listening. And you can go ahead and get that free resource so that it makes it easy for you to navigate, because I know that it's really hard when someone has an established podcast. I am such a podcast fiend, listening to podcasts all day long. And when I find one that I love, but there's a lot that are out there, I am so lost. So I hope that you enjoy this free podcast roadmap. Again, the link to get to that is going to be rentiaclinic.com/podcast roadmap. I hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any questions.